In 2007, FDA had the largest recall that they had ever experienced, and it started in March 15th, the Ides of March, and it was when Menu Foods had contacted FDA to tell them that they had a problem with one of their pet food lines. They had a fair number of cats on a taste test trial, and these cats developed kidney failure and died. And because they were confined, Menu Foods was able to trace back and identify that the food that was causing the problem had been made with a wheat gluten product that had come from a different supplier. So after this went public, CVM received many phone calls from veterinarians that had possible cases of the poisoning, and from owners, and we were really swamped with calls. And so since the center is only about 400 people, I was asked to help with the pet food recall, and a lot of people were called in to work on the problem. I was asked to look at the pathology reports that were coming into the center and to interact with the veterinary pathologists that were contacting the center. And this was because I had previously, before coming to FDA, done research looking at kidney toxicology, and also I had taught pathology at the medical school. So after about 2 weeks of testing for all sorts of potential poisons that affect kidneys, the FDA Forensics Center found melamine in that suspect wheat gluten. Up until then, we all knew that the pet food was causing problems and was causing kidney failure in the animals, but nobody knew what was in the product itself. This was an interesting finding because we really didn't expect melamine to be found in pet food. Let me show you what without a blood supply to the kidney will fail. This is what I thought happened with the animals that had received the melamine contaminated pet food. If the melamine was combining with uric acid or another compound, for example, like the cyanuric acid that was in the flame retardant, I thought perhaps they were developing these crystals that we saw in the kidneys, and that the crystals were obstructing the flow of urine. I just may not be seeing enough of these crystals because they were preserving the tissues in formaldehyde. Now, the hypothesis met with some skepticism. Since melamine in general is usually considered non-toxic, it was not widely accepted at first. So like any scientist that forms a hypothesis, I tried to go out and try to prove it. Crystals can form very rapidly. I have a little video that you can see here that shows melamine in solution, and drop by drop we're adding cyanuric acid. And as soon as you add the cyanuric acid, you can see the white crystals forming, and the precipitate is immediately formed upon dropping these solutions and mixing the solutions together. So we had figured out that the crystals were composed of melamine cyanurate, and we also saw that the crystals can form quite rapidly in vitro. And we felt we had a pretty good handle on what was causing the mortality in the dogs and cats, what was causing the kidney failure. So we had figured out what was going on with the pet food recall, and we thought that that story was over. And then a week later, we found out that not only had the pet food been contaminated with the wheat gluten, but that livestock feed, pig feed, chicken feed, and fish feed had all been contaminated with the melamine.